What that word pop, right? What is that in your head? What does that mean? What does it mean for Das Racist or for Himanshu to try to make a more pop album?
I wanted to make a pop album in the sense of something that for the first time in our career was for a commercial sale, and I thought of it more as pop art than pop music, and I wanted to be involved in every aspect, or as many aspects of the creation of it as I could, from putting it out on my label, to making the music, to selling it, and playing with the idea of hip-hop, rap is pop now, and it was more about what the word pop conjures up to people, whether they're rap people, music critics or not, than any actual idea of pop. None of the songs are, Girl is a song that's pop, but so was Coochie Dip City on our first mixtape. So it was more about using the word pop and kind of like thinking about what that conjures up in rap heads and non-rap heads.
But also thinking about like, all right,
I'm thinking about literally selling this thing.
We want to sell copies of this, and let's not fool around. That's what we do this for. You're not on something where like, no, we don't want to sell any records. We just want to be.
No, we want to sell records and make money to live and buy goods and services and shelter.
I think everyone can applaud that. We talked a bit. Where do we go now? Rap Genius. So there's I think for those who are not aware of the audience, I have come to believe there's a cottage industry of people trying to decode and check out rapgenius.com, which is like a...
Rapgenius.com is a website that kind of takes rap songs and explains their lyrics. There's a line, my partner raps on this album where he says, rapgenius.com is White Devil sophistry. Google ad technology is artificial karma beat. But the idea is just like, this is like a coded language that comes from a culture, and to just take that and translate it. And I was thinking about asking like writers here, like, do your editors make you do a glossary of terms, or do you do it, and why do you do it? And do you like doing it?
I want to stick for a second with the race thing. White people like to talk about race too. You have this idea like, or I get this idea of like, rather than, maybe this is going to sound really academic, rather than kind of like taking up like a specific Indian, Pakistani, Iranian, Arab, Latino, rather than kind of this idea of like, okay, we're all pretty much like, there's a commonality to all of these little dots of experience that are between the black band and the white band in this big American abstraction. Is that like, it's not much of a question, really, I'm saying that this, like, do you get this from people who come, you meet, some, Arab kid from Detroit who whatever is from, families from Egypt or something, but he sees this as being like, hey, I'm kind of like...
With this project, that in large part has to do with two of us having gone to a school like Wesleyan that was predominantly like wealthy white kids, and having to understand what wealth on that level looks like and what it means, and thinking about race in the context of institutionalized race and not my experiences as someone that's dealt with race. And so a lot of this, between, and it's not so much that that's the only way we think about it, but it's also just, the idea of that I don't necessarily want to perform being Indian. I would much rather perform being myself, and one part of that is being Indian. So I don't want to only rap about being Indian, but I want to rap about race because it's something that has affected me and something I think about a lot.
Do you think that this is something, to go back to the beginning of
So the idea of pan-brownness allows me to kind of like, explain myself without having to, toss in things about, like, without having to perform my race.
Right. It's just there, but you, it's like, there's this tension though, right, between, and this is the self-curation thing. How much of it is, maybe we have a mistake where we think that there's like an authentic you, and that's just going to roll out on paper, When you, I was going to say earlier, I thought I would have to introduce you to a massively enormous audience, and I thought I was going to say that, here's a guy who you know, is the only rapper in America who's going to name drop Manmohan Singh and I.K. Gujral at the beginning of the song. And then I thought to myself, that's a stupid thing to say, you know? Here I am sitting up on stage being like, get a load of this, Indian guy is rapping.
Yeah.
But it's both, right? I mean, you know, like, this is in your head, you sit down to write, you think about a joke about a spiced out Manmohan, a spiced out I.K. Gujral.
That was a reference to Ghostface, spiced out Calvin Coolidge from Nutmeg.
There we are.
So, yeah.
All right. But it's like, it's deliberate, but it's not deliberate, right? You know what you're doing when you reference I.K. Gujral.
Yeah.
But also it's just, that's a natural thing, that's what comes into your head.
Yeah.
Ghostface says Calvin Coolidge, you say I.K. Gujral.
Yeah. I know you don't like the one word response.
I know, we talked about this earlier, but
I don't know what to say. It's true.